at 4:39 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll. Please, no, that's you. I was going to read your part too.
Yeah, you can do that. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my list. I do have Miss Bixler. Miss Bixler, you're here.
Oh, I'm sorry, present. Sorry.
Pastor Poole.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Perfect. Miss Holmes.
Here.
Miss Gibson.
Hey, I'm not actually a member of the team. I'm just from the Go Team office.
Oh,
support.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was like, I was trying to go back and look at my notes. I was like, so sorry. Well, we're glad that you're here.
Yeah. I'm
Sorry
here.
for that. I thought maybe I had overlooked someone, so I was
No,
just
you're
wanted to make
okay.
sure. And then I believe we should have Ms. Walker. She's not here. And Mr. Ford, can you help me with our other people?
Yes, ma'am. Let me see. Give me just a moment. I'm gonna call Miss Walker to find out if she's able to jump on real quick.
Okay.
Yes.
Miss Walker will be joining us. She needs to jump on her email, and then she'll be joining us momentarily. Miss Morgan, will we have a quorum once Miss Walker joins us?
Ms. Bixler, I can confirm that we have our quorum here.
Okay,
I apologize for that, but thank you for, let me just make sure we had everything covered. So we can get started when you're ready, Ms. Bixler.
okay. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you. Are there any changes to the agenda? No. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Morgan, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
All in favor, please say aye so that the secretary can record your vote.
Aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Okay. Next, we will review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. Well, was that official or no?
It was.
Okay,
Good one.
okay, so do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting?
I move that we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Do I have a second?
Morgan, I'll second it.
All right,
And that was Holmes.
yeah, I know. All right, if there are no further, did I ask, are there any corrections to the last minutes? I think I forgot to say that. If there are no further, so you've already made a motion, you've seconded. If you're in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Okay, so the previous meeting minutes have been approved. All right. Our first action item is, well, we approve the agenda, okay. So I'm looking at the agenda and I'm confused. I see discussion items. I see what those are. And then I see action item below one of the discussion items. Do I just go to discussion items?
I believe that underneath the first thing we're going to be talking about today is our strategic plan.
All right, so we will now move to the discussion items on our agenda.
Okay. So I would like to share my screen with everyone. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
This is our strategic plan for 2021 to 2025. Basically, the strategic plan has our priorities as well as goals on them. So if you all would just take a look, of course, our goals are centered around the improvement of proficiency for our students in ELA and in math. And then the last one says to increase the percentage of students who respond favorably on the student survey by 3% each school year. So that's the STAR survey that's given at the end of the year to our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. And we are thinking about a way that we can get some data or information from our younger scholars as well, but that is primarily from our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. We have a slight shift in the continuous improvement plan for the student-centered portion of the continuous improvement plan. And that would be to have a decrease in the percentage of students who are considered chronically absent. So we may want to consider a change in that area, but we still want our scholars to respond favorably on the STAR survey at the end of the year. So if you'll just take a look at the school strategic priorities, improving reading proficiency, improving math proficiency, developing school values in all of our scholars, continuous PL efforts to build capacity for our teachers, continuous support to increase teacher retention, engage families with our PTSA, and then increased communication between home students and school. Those have been our strategic priorities. At this time, we can have a discussion about changing, adapting, maybe any updates on any of those. Does anyone have anything they'd like to change or discuss as it relates to any of those priorities? So as you know, the priorities that are there will be those will be what we will use to prioritize how we are making decisions as a GO team. We want to make decisions that are centered around those priorities and around those goals. So we want to make sure that we are all aligned with those priorities and those goals as we move forward in the work. Are there any suggestions, comments, questions, concerns, anything for discussion? All right, well, then I believe someone can make a motion to approve the continuation of these goals and priorities if there are no changes.
Do
Morgan,
I have a motion to
yes,
approve?
I make a motion that we approve the principal's strategic plan and priorities.
Priorities and SMART goals. Do I have a second?
Hey, Ms. Bixler?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
right now, you guys are at the point of approving the strategic plan. So this is just an overview
Okay.
of like where you all are right now. And
Right.
then Principal Ford will also share the current status of the continuous improvement plan. And then you guys will still have to go through the school data. So he's just going over this just to share out with where you are
All
right
right,
now.
so just the first part. Okay.
So that's it. So you don't need a
So it-
motion to approve at this point. That'll come in a few months.
Okay,
Excellent, awesome. All right, well then I think we can go to the next form of business for this evening, which would be our conversation around uniforms.
Okay.
So I'm going to stop sharing this document and then so basically, the district has put forth a new board policy related to the school dress code. And that dress code has really changed some of the expectations around what students should wear. And we are just going to have a conversation today about whether, as a school, we would like to engage in a process of having a uniform policy at Perkerson Elementary School. We're not going to decide if we're going to have that policy today. What we're going to decide if we want to continue that conversation, and then we will have another conversation about a team of people who will work together to engage the community and get some more related information around whether or not a policy around having a dress code for our students, a uniform policy would be the best going forward for our students. So what I wanted to do is just find out first, kind of get a pulse of where we are as a school, if this is something you all would like to continue to discuss, As a principal of the building, I'd like to just start by saying that I am definitely in favor. I see that there are lots of benefits to us having a uniform policy. I know that there are some downsides to that. One thing that we do need to understand is that although we may have a uniform policy, no formal discipline will be provided for students who are not complying with the uniform policy. So we are definitely able to communicate expectations around what students wear to school, but we have been directed by the board to ensure that our policies don't prohibit students from engaging in the learning environment, that what they wear to school should not prohibit them from being a part of the classroom and the learning environment. So I just wanted to be clear about that because I know that there is some conversation around, well, if they don't wear them, then what happens? So there are some things that we can do to support via our school social worker and school counselor. Of course, I have communicated that expectation to families, and teachers are communicating that expectation. But there is not any formal discipline that will be provided for students whose parents choose not to comply with the uniform policy. So with that being said, I mean, would love to answer any questions that you all may have, but with that being said, would this team like to continue a conversation around having a uniform policy at Perkerson Elementary School?
I will speak to that, Mr. Ford, if I might. I do appreciate our uniform policy. I think that it does provide a lot of benefits, so I would be open to continuing to talk about that and how we can use that to benefit our students in the learning environment at Perkerson.
I agree. I know research supports the benefits of uniforms in school. And I would like to, have a discussion of how we can, I don't know, encourage, inspire, motivate people to understand how it benefits the kids so they would be more invested in dressing their kids because there is a benefit, like, research supports uniforms. So I think we should continue the discussion.
This was Walter Poole. I would for us to continue the discussion about uniforms in school. I know personally, I've seen school strong uniform policy in
Okay.
the learning environment. So I'm definitely interested.
Excellent. So the first question just basically says, does your school want to continue the uniform in the school year, this upcoming school year and beyond? And the GO team would now need to take a vote if yes or no. So at this time, if the chair doesn't mind just proposing a vote for whether we would like to continue with that.
Okay. Do I hear a
Just one
motion
second,
to
just 1 second, Ms. Bixler. Principal Ford, do you have a copy of the slides that go along with this conversation?
I have
I-
a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, and so that way, if you could share that with the team, so that way they'll kind of see what's involved with the process and some of the background information. So you guys can include that information in your discussion about the vision for Perkerson.
Give me just 1 second. Let me see if I can locate that.
Okay, I just forwarded it to you.
And while you're doing that,
Right at this time, I thought we were just discussing whether or not it's a conversation that we wanted to continue to have.
Well, there are other things that go along with the conversation. So for instance, you guys would have to, engage your community around kind of what the vision would be. And then just, so just making sure that you guys understand the engagement component, and then just I guess from the board policy, kind of the board's vision as far as the optional portion of the uniform.
Awesome. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
We can.
Okay. So if you just take a look there, this is just a slide presentation that was shared with me. So basically, to continue the conversation we were having, there would be an optional school uniform, which would coincide with the district's dress code policy. For the elementary school, it says that a school uniform is adopted upon the agreement of the principal and a majority vote of the school governance team. That would be you all, which would be the GO team. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Excuse me. On the next slide, you can see here where it talks about the requirements of the policy as well as some restrictions. So if you just take a moment and read through those. The requirements, the board policy requirements are those 4 that are there. And then there are 3 restrictions on the right side. If you take a look at this slide, this one, it's titled Examples of Problematic School-Specific Dress Code Provisions. This is language that I think was found in some of the current school dress codes that do not coincide with the expectations set forth by the Atlanta Board of Education. And so as we're thinking about developing a uniform policy, we will want to be aware of these types of statements and restrictions placed on the students. This next slide, I think what's important to highlight is the district is very intentional about using the word optional school uniform. That goes along with what I was trying to explain to you all earlier as it relates to there being, well, the statement is as follows: effective immediately, at no time will students have their instructional time interrupted or be barred from class or school declining to wear the optional school uniform. So in essence, it's saying that there will not be any discipline provided for students who elect not to comply with the optional school uniform policy. I think at our school, just speaking of our Perkinsonians, having the uniforms has been very helpful to the students and the staff. There are lots of staff members who just have a lot of Perkinson polos, and it makes it easy for them to get ready for work in the morning. And it makes it very easy for parents as well. And so I think that there are some things that we can do to really encourage and to continue to support the use of uniforms. But the district is very clear about it being an optional school uniform. So we need to take some action. The Go team needs to take action, which is the vote that I was alluding to earlier. If we'd like to maintain or explore implementing an optional school uniform. So again, at this time, if the chair would not mind calling for a vote to either maintain or do away with a optional school uniform policy.
Do I have a motion to move forward with maintaining our optional school uniform?
Morgan, I make a motion that we continue this discussion for optional school uniforms.
Okay, do I have a second?
Home,
And that's your second, Ms. Holmes?
yes,
All those in favor, say aye.
aye,
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Okay, so sounds like that was approved to me. All right,
So the next part of the discussion is for the
Mhm.
Go team to explore establishing an optional school uniform. And we would need to establish a school uniform advisory committee. This would be a committee of people who would be responsible for the following things. So you see that there are 6 things there. If you'll take a moment and just read through those 6 things. So as a school uniform advisory committee, we're going to go through the process of those 6 things as the year progresses. We need to determine who will be on that committee.
and that's gonna be comprised of us.
Correct.
Okay. I'll be happy to be a part of that committee.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm happy to serve if I can be of use.
We would also be recommending 3 student ambassadors.
Okay. Let's see.
And so those are 3 students that I would select.
All right.
And they would also be meeting with you all to have a conversation about this process.
So, Mr. Ford, would that also include, I mean, obviously that includes that you are a part of this team. We would have 3 students, 3 student ambassadors. If Ms. Pixler and if you needed me, then that's who we have so far.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want me to just be the chair of that too?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so that takes care of number 1.
So and this is no more than 2 additional, and at this time.
And Morgan's
one of
1.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Would you mind
Holmes?
joining us as well?
Who did you ask, Mr. Ford?
Ms. Holmes.
Come on, Holmes, it'll be fun.
yeah, I will.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so that's 3, Mr. Ford. You're gonna select 3 students to be ambassadors. Other committee members may be added as determined by the Go team. Any thoughts?
I think we have met the requirements of.
So that'll work. Okay.
Mhm.
All right,
Hi,
so
this is Chandra again. I would encourage you guys to identify some parents to serve on the committee?
Okay,
Did you all identify? Yeah.
I like that
Um,
idea.
I was
Mr.
gonna
Ford, you-
ask if we could consider that, so that we have that stakeholder
Right,
voice in that, so
Mhm.
that if there are questions that come up about this, then we have parents that were stakeholders.
right. And other parents who have questions or whatever might be more comfortable, talking to another parent.
Mr. Ford, what would be your vision for the number of parents that we would maybe ask?
I think somewhere between 2 and 3 parents would be ideal because it would match what we have as it relates to representatives from the Go team. So I think if we have, 3 members from the Go team, then having at least 3 parents would be ideal.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what that's what I was also thinking, and I just had already slotted maybe 3 spaces that we could identify those names. Unless you already have those in mind.
Actually, I will take all suggestions. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm switching between this and the agenda, so.
Mr. Ford, when we look at those parents, would it be something that we might want to consider that we pick a younger parent, a parent of a younger student, having a parent somewhere in that middle age group, those middle, second, third, and then having that one from the fourth, fifth, that upper end of our student population? That way it gives us balance if we could find that.
Absolutely. And I also think that it's important to have some representative from the younger grades, considering that hopefully they will be with us for a longer period of time.
Correct.
Yeah, I like that idea. I was thinking the same thing. All right. So we just discussed the Student Uniform Advisory Committee. Resolution establishing, that's another action item. See, I'm confused about what I'm supposed to be. Are we supposed to vote on that now? On the establishment of the committee?
Only as we need to take action and vote on the establishment of the committee.
Okay,
So there's a motion and a second in the Go team.
so do I have a motion to approve the action, the advisory committee for school uniforms?
Morgan, I'll make a motion that we approve the makeup of our team.
Do I have a second?
Um,
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Oh,
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Okay, sounds like that passes. All right.
I have one more discussion item for us to
Okay,
today. And that is just, I need to go over some data with you all. If
all
we
right.
just
We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda.
is Mr. Ford talking?
I think he's getting the data slides ready.
Okay. It seemed like he cut off all of a sudden.
I was trying to get to the screen so I can share some data with you all. We're going to just take a look at our end of the year Georgia milestone assessment data. I just wanted to remind everyone that the data is still embargoed. So basically what that means is that at this point, as I'm sharing it with you, we're sharing it in this space, but we won't be sharing it much outside of this space. So give me just one moment so that I can pull up this screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, well, the top shows kind of overall how we did in English, math, and science. And then the bottom shows it broken out by grade level. So overall, you all can see that we did have some decreases in proficiency and some increases in students who were in the below category. And this is based off of just end of the year ELA math and science. One thing I do want to just highlight about.
Student,
Go ahead.
sorry, Mr. Ford, without a ledger, it's kind of hard to gauge what I'm looking at here. What
Okay.
more?
Yeah. So if you take a look at the top, Pastor Poole, where it says ELA, you see that those top two bars where it says ELA?
I do.
Okay, so we have 2023 and 2024. So in 2023, we were, if you look at the green area there, we were at about 26% proficient and above.
Okay.
If you look at 2024, right underneath it, we dropped from about 26% to a 24%. So we decreased by 2%, about 2 percentage points in ELA.
Okay, 22%.
What we
Yeah.
see is that's 24% in 2023 and 22 in 2024 in ELA.
Right.
But I'm
I
also
think it's cut off.
It's okay.
adding in the darker green. That's the students who are distinguished.
I got you.
Right.
That part. Okay.
So those it's proficient and above, because we had some students
Okay.
who were distinguished as well. And then the same thing if you take a look at math. In 2023, we had 18% plus that 2% right there, so we were at about 20%. And then we went from 20% to we have the 17% plus that 2% there. So we are at like 19%. So we dropped a little
Mhm.
there as well. If you look at science, we went from 12% to 11%. So we dropped 1% there. And then if you look under, like right after the year there, do you see where it says 149, 162? 149 is the number of students that we tested in 2023, and 162 is the number of students that we tested last year. So we actually tested more students last year, which is one of the hurdles that we have to kind of get across, because our population fluctuates so much. We have to take that into consideration as we're looking at growth and the decline, because every student changes that percentage drastically.
Mhm.
If you look at the bottom, you can see now same information, but it's just broken up into how each individual grade did. So we have third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade for ELA, and then third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade for math. And third and fourth grade do not take the science, so you'll only see fifth grade results for science there. But if you take a look, we really had a difficult time last year in third grade specifically, in both math and in ELA. I think mathematically speaking, had we done better in third grade last year, our data would have shown more of an improvement overall.
But fifth grade,
Fifth grade did a great job.
yes.
What was your retention rate on your students from last year?
You know,
Third grade to
yeah. So I don't know what the actual percentage is. I think that's some math that I definitely need to do, Pastor Poole. But I will say that every year we were able this year to hold on to more students than we have had in the past, but we still have an influx of new students coming to our building. And that just makes it really tricky because I was talking to the third, fourth, and fifth grade teachers about the fact that this year, we have 85 of the 100, we have 158 students currently that are in third, fourth, and fifth grade. And of those 158 students, 85 of them are currently out of all foundational skills as it relates to reading. We have never had that many students start the school year and don't need any support as it relates to foundational skills, which basically means that they're starting the school year and we can teach them on grade level with grade level Lexile material for reading, where we're not having to go back and backtrack to some of those foundational skills and decoding skills that we previously had to deal with. And so we've seen a increase in them. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So we've seen an increase in the number of students who are moving in that direction. Second grade sent 27 second graders, now third graders, to third grade reading on grade level. And so that is a significant improvement, but one of the places where as a school we have to really focus on is getting our children to demonstrate what they're able to do at the level at which they're actually able to perform. Because we have a lot of students who just quite frankly don't do their best as it relates to MAP and end of the grade assessments. And so our data can seem as though our children lack skills that really they have. And so that is a big push right now is for K through 5. How can we get our scholars to perform like scholars every opportunity that they have in the learning environment? Any other questions that you all might have about the data? All right. Ms.
How
Bixler,
did that, I'm sorry, how did that affect what you're having in your strategic plan or your SMART plan? Was that a part of that? Did that impact that?
it does. So basically the continuous improvement plan was just for us to be able to show 3% growth in proficiency in math and in reading. And we did not meet those goals in either ELA or math. We actually regressed in both reading and in math. So it did definitely impact that. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we discussed that, right?
Right.
That's all we need to do. Now we can move to your information items.
Right. And I don't have any information items except for we have the Title I reading night coming up on Thursday. So let's get the word out so we can have parents join us on Thursday evening. And we're looking forward to the children have fall break coming up in October. And we also have the fall festival coming up in October.
Okay. So what else am I supposed to do? Information items. And you just did announcements. No public comment for this meeting, right?
I don't
So
think
it's
no one requested public comment for this meeting.
okay. So we've reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Anyone?
Morgan,
I
I
move
make a
that we adjourn
motion.
the meeting, Mrs. Holmes.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.